Kevin Hunter and Jody Summers here on Health Kindness on Northwest Digital News. And Jody, take it away. What do you want to talk about today here on the show?
So our topic for today is the one that everybody's heard of, and that is organic. And, is it a buzzword? Is it a health word? Is it, what does it mean? And, what
As
is
Stephanie
it?
was saying before the show, she said that Jay Leno said organic means it costs 3 times as much as anything else.
Yeah.
No, that's not the explanation, but anyway,
that's
go
not
ahead.
okay. I say that's not what we're going to talk about today. Although it can be more expensive, but it doesn't have to be. So there you go. But what we're going to talk about in a nutshell is what it is, and then one of the things I think that surprises people is what to buy organic, and it is different oftentimes than kind of what we're led to believe. Not that the things that we think of aren't important, but there's other things that we don't think of when we think of organic that are almost literally more important than the things we do. So one of the good places, first thing is people think of produce. So we're going to talk about produce or being organic, but one of the best places that people can learn about organic and about the different things and a listing is the Environmental Working Group, which is, you can find it at EWG. They are a nonprofit organization that has a lot of really good information about organic products. There are, like every organization, they're good and bad. And so some of the things that you'll see as here, buy this may have, I kind of take that part with a grain of salt, but the education that they do provide on that site is really accurate. And one of the things that I got on that site is the listing of the different types of labels that you'll see, which so what is organic? And the one that we definitely want to think of is the certified USDA organic. So when you see the label that says USDA organic, that is actually a federal government program that these food companies or farmers or, whoever's bringing that product to the FDA needs to literally have checked. And going back to that joke about Jay Leno, is the reason that it's so expensive is because it's government. I shouldn't use this word, but I will. It's government interference. Basically, the government is mandating that if you want that label, you have to pay for it. And that label for food companies is extremely expensive. And I actually work with a friend who produces his own product. It's a beet product. And he grows these organic beets in Germany, but brings them back to the United States. And he makes this beet product. Well, he wanted the label on his product because it is organic. And the limitations that the government gave for him, the sizing, the location of the placement on his product, what it said, how big it is, how big the font is, what else could be around there, was all told to him. This is exactly how it will be. And he spent more on that label than he did setting up and traveling to Germany and setting up his farms there for his beets.
Wow.
So if that just gives you any idea of how strict this particular label is. And that is one of the reasons why it costs so much. It's not that it costs that much to grow organic produce. It's that the laws are cost restrictive for a lot of these growers. All of that said, this organic label is the most strict, and that's the one, when you see that, you will know that 100% of the products they're completely organic. They have 0 antibiotics or 0 growth hormones as well. Okay, the next one that you're going to see is the 100% organic, which is, is just organic. There's just the label organic, where it's at least 95%. Then we go to made with organic products, which is at least 70% organic, which if you're really looking to cut back on pesticides, still 30% can have pesticides in there. But it's better than 100%. So, those are labels that you'll want to look for, with that USDA label being the highest of them.
Sure. Makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. So some products that we think of, let me say that we don't think of, that are really super important. In fact, I've kind of put them in order of how I use them in my life. And that is my very first thing, that if I were to pick one product, and it's because I use this product every day without fail, whether I'm fasting or I'm not fasting, whether I'm eating a lot or I'm traveling, I use this product day in and day out. So for me, it's really important to have it to be organic, and that is coffee.
Here, here.
Coffee, yeah, exactly. It's like life is coffee. Um, and
I have
coffee
organic
is
lemon ginger tea this morning, by the way. So it's not coffee, but I do get what you're talking about with coffee. There was local coffee brewer had shared with me that if you're drinking 1 cup of coffee a day, every day of the year, and it's not organic coffee, that you're drinking 8 ounces of pesticides a year.
That's probably very accurate, and it would be really interesting to see that study and to see exactly how much is in there. But the truth is that we really don't know how much is in there, because most of our coffee is grown out of this country. And the limitations and again, sometimes we complain, just like I was just, in some way complaining about that label and how much it costs. But part of that label is the strict laws that you have to follow. Well, in other countries, sometimes there are not those strict laws, and their regulations are looser, and the people who come out and check the fields may not be as much as it would be in this country. And so much of our coffee is grown in other countries that we really have no control over. And so, once it's sprayed, and then it's sprayed again, and it's very condensed, then it's dried, and then it's ground up, and then we soak this pesticide soaked ground up powder in water and drink a lot of it. And so that's the reason why coffee is my first option if you're going to make any change at all. And truly, organic coffee is not that much more than the non-organic type. So that would be my number one change, that if somebody was to change one thing, that would be it.
And if you're frequenting a coffee shop, getting an organic cup of coffee, at least here locally, and in my experience, is that it's actually the exact same cost. You just have to know what kind of coffee they're using. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not if I go to someone's home and I spend the night there, and I'll just drink whatever coffee they have. But in my regular life, it's always organic. So. Second option, or the second change I guess people should make, is animal fat, and any kind of fat, specifically animal fat, because fat condenses toxins. In fact, that's where we store all of our toxins, in our own body as well as animals. And so again, most people think of produce when they think of buying organic, but animal fat would be even more so than produce, because it holds on to the toxins that are in that animal. So fields that have been sprayed, or if the animal was given feed that was non-organic, and then all of those are brought out. And again, it's generally very dense and very concentrated. So animal products, whether it be butter or lard or milk or sour cream or all of those things, organic would be a really good option there as well.
So I've heard a lot of conversation that if there's only one area that somebody is choosing to go organic, that meats is probably the place they should choose. You agree with that?
I for the amount of coffee I drink, for me it's coffee, but meat is for most people that would be the truth. Again, and usually if the nice thing about choosing an organic type of a beef, or a grass-fed organic, or a pastured chicken, or wild caught fish, the difference is not only is it better for us, but it's better for the animal. So therefore they have a less stressed life. They have a lower hormone level because they're not living a stressed life, and it's better for the environment. So there's like a win-win-win. You can't lose by choosing a properly prepared, good life animal to eat. I mean, it's better than the CAFOs, which are, you drive up and down. I live in California, and all up and down the mid-state, if you're going to go from north to south or back to south to north, you just drive out miles of these large animal concentrated feed farms that just stink, and they live in this filth, and then we eat that, and we wonder why we're sick. So yeah, it's awful.
That is awful. What about, because you're talking about things that are done in volume and everything else. How about like milk and egg products?
And so organic milk is, again, toxins concentrate in that milk. In fact, milk is very rich in nutrients. That's why mommies feed babies milk, and milk from cows is filled with nutrients. And so again, you want to make sure that milk is another one of those things. And this particular brand is the one I use, and it's out of California, out of Fresno. I love this company. They have extremely high standards, and not only are they organic, but they're raw. And so, which is a whole different topic here, but their standards of cleanliness at that farm is above any I've ever seen. And again, so you can buy organic milk in raw or pasteurized. It's not just specific to raw milk, but the benefits of that organic milk is, you're not getting those stored in the fat. So you want to make sure you're drinking, organic milk that's full fat milk as well, because we've talked about that. Pasture-raised eggs are the same. Again, that big yolk in the middle is where all the nutrients are, for the same reason that we talked about. Not only is it better for us, but it's better for the chickens, and it's more nutrient dense, because generally these chickens that are organic and pasture raised have lived outside, and they actually get more nutrients from free ranging on the grass than they do from, bagged feed. So again, a win-win-win.
Sure.
So one product that I just wanted to highlight, and it's not even that there's this product that is organic, but one thing that I would definitely stay away from, especially for children, is microwave popcorn. There's been a lot of questions about microwave popcorn in the past, but we're finding now with this PFOS and PFOA, which is a chemical in the water and in these processing plants that process the microwave popcorn, is that it's very, very high in this product. And so microwave popcorn is something that, you should literally just never even have in the house. Buy it in the little, just like we were doing it growing up, in the little containers, and put it over the stove with real butter if you want. It's better anyway, but this is just something that I would completely take out of the diet if you're looking to use a higher quality, organic product.
You see this in almost everybody's grocery carts these days, leaving grocery stores, and probably the most popular product when everybody sits down to watch a movie in the evening and that sort of thing. And we got rid of microwave popcorn a long time ago. And
it's one of those that, children should never have it, never. And it's not the popcorn that's bad, it's the microwave, how it's processed in that bag.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about this, the Dirty Dozen list here.
Absolutely. So this is from the Environmental Working Group. And again, you can just go back, you can find this Dirty Dozen, which is all of these that should, if you're going to buy your produce organic, these would be those products. Strawberries, they're like anything that you can think of that's almost like a sponge. So when you think of an apple, if you opened an apple and you dropped a drop of food coloring on that, it would absorb. Celery, strawberries, anything that absorbs, if you can think of it, if it was absorbed color, it would absorb pesticides at a much higher rate than something that's really hard covered, such as an avocado, because they don't find as many pesticides in avocados because of that, the covering. But a strawberry, for example, literally will just absorb that. Apples, especially if you're doing any juicing, always organic with apples, celery, nectarines, kale. Actually, I just saw an article last week that kale has moved way up because it is extremely absorbent, and it's becoming more and more popular in people's diets, which is great. But that would be another one of those products that is extremely absorbs a lot of pesticides. So this list, I would also add to that list any berries or any berries with thin skin, and just the whole gamut of lettuces for the same reason we just talked about.
Excellent stuff. Well, I guess you kind of got to base it on what you're eating the most, and then making sure that whatever that product is that you're intaking a lot, that you make sure that you're buying organic type products, so you aren't ingesting a lot of pesticides. I think that not only are these toxins, but I think of all the different things that they spray crops with these days, and they prevent nutrient absorption and all other kinds of problems. So, that food that seems like it was so good, you really have no idea what you're actually going to get out of it, because I have learned that the crop grown on a sprayed field absorbs less nutrients to begin with, because that spray on the crop is hurting the humic acid and fulvic acid that's in the soil, and that has to do with nutrient absorption. And so you're getting a less nutrient dense food to begin with, and then you're going to absorb less in your digestive tract because the stuff's on it. So I mean, it's just like all the way around. It just seems like the double whammy.
Well, I'm going to add a triple whammy to that. So if the spray happens to include glyphosate, which is the most popular, generally at home gardens, there's other options as well, but in a lot of the industrial foods include glyphosate. And glyphosate actually has, the way that it works, it blocks a pathway in organisms in the soil, which causes these weeds not to grow. Now, the marketing is that we don't have that pathway in our body, which is true. We do not, as humans, do not have that pathway. So there's, it's safe. Well, what the manufacturer failed to tell Congress, failed to tell the government, failed to tell the population, is that the gut microbiome in our own gut, all of our healthy bacteria, does have that exact same pathway. So just like we're supposed to get healthy bacteria out of the beacause of how good those probiotics are.
Yep.
That's the exact same pathway that is in our gut, that if we eat this glyphosate, tainted food, it kills the healthy bacteria in our gut. So it's a triple whammy. I mean, it's, it doesn't hurt us, but the gut bacteria is part of us. So it really does hurt us in the long run.
Very good. Well, I think the overwhelming advice is eat organic, save yourself all this trouble, and enjoy the health benefits that you get out of eating organic. If you have any questions for Jody Summers, you can find her at healthkindness.com. It's right up here on the top of the screen. So that's where you can find Jody Summers. Kevin Hunter and Jody Summers here on Health Kindness on Northwest Digital News. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.